What you're staring at right here is an alligator tail. And that is actually an alligator in the wild. You can barely see it. His tail is right there, and his body is protruding out of the water in this little retention pond area. A lot of times you see gators at theme parks, places in Florida like Gatorland, and other zoos have alligators. This zoo in particular, this theme park, has been closed for over 40 years. I'm talking about the original Tarzan, Johnny Weissmuller's Tropical Wonderland here in Titusville, Florida. And I'm here with my friend Daniel, who is a local resident. How long have you lived in Titusville?
Born and raised here, 29 years.
So this place has a special place in your heart, and the generation above you, you said your father came out here quite a few times as well. So you know a lot of the history. And as we were walking along, we noticed this guy mowing the yard, and then he noticed an alligator, a real live alligator, and there's actually a turtle over there popping out of the water. At first I noticed the turtle, and then he said, I think that's a gator tail. And what's attached to a gator tail?
A gator head.
A gator itself.
The rest of the body.
Hopefully you can see that. Zoom in. Oh my gosh, let me do this. Let me pry this back. That is frightening. It's my second channel, daily blog channel. It's the daily abandoned, kind of abandoned. The property is owned by several different businesses. It's the TheDailyWoo theme park version of an old classic Florida attraction that most people outside of Titusville probably never knew about, and a lot of people in Titusville have probably forgotten.
Most of them have forgotten.
So give me a little backstory of what you know on this property and Johnny Weissmuller and his association with that. Anything that you know that you want to chime in the blog.
1959, the park opened here in Titusville, and then it was under a specific operation under whoever opened it as a theme park. Had all kinds of stuff. There was a Dodge City, like a shootout, kind of an Old West kind of area, and then they also had a tropical area that had animals and all kinds of zoo exhibits. They even had a big building that's still here, actually, part of the snake and reptile exhibit.
We're going to walk over to the front of it. The reason we're over in this area is we were looking at some old maps online. If you just Google Johnny Weissmuller Tropical Wonderland, one of the first maps that shows up is an old brochure of the layout of the land of the entire property. So go on Google, look at that or download that on your computer or on your smartphone, and while we do the vlog, we'll pinpoint out certain areas of where attractions were, at least what I kind of know from my research online and what you know through distant memory as a child or stories that people have told you. We'll try to vicariously bring you along on the property here in Titusville. So this guy's actually mowing the yard. There's a mower shop in front of this nightclub, sports bar right here. And this sports bar, as best as we can tell, this sports bar, nightclub, and the mower shop on the other side are actually original facades and original buildings from back in 1960s or 1959 when the place opened. I'm not sure if it was here on opening day, but it was here when the maps were created. So if you have that map in front of you, if you've Googled it and done the research, you will realize that on the far corner of the map are these buildings. We actually tried to get way up top up there on those condominiums and get you guys an aerial shot. However, it's all locked up, and the only way to get on the elevator is to have a key if you actually live in the condominium, and we do not live up there. So we could not actually get up there. There's actually a dog over there barking quite a bit. And at one time, there was actually a house here. And if you look on that map online, you will see at the front edge of the property is this long building, and then next to it is another angled building, which we'll show momentarily. And then behind that was a house, and then the Titusville Drive-In movie theater was actually on the corner of Highway 50, which is Colonial Drive, is it not?
Yeah, it's
Colonial Drive, Highway 50. And what road is this right here that we're seeing?
That's US 1 here.
So US 1, that's different than A1A, right?
Yeah, that A1A is beachside. This one
okay.
This is the one that runs all the way down by Miami, all the way up to Maine.
Okay, got you. We're not in Maine today, however. We are in Titusville, Florida, a little town which is pretty much known for one thing: the space community, NASA Kennedy Space Center, which is actually right past there. If our peripheral vision could see past that building, we would see some of the structures at Kennedy Space Center. So look at this. This building is an original building from the late 1950s, 60s, when Johnny Weissmuller took over this property. The original Tarzan from TV and the movies was right here, and all of this acreage was his dream, his theme park, a tropical wonderland slash zoo slash theme parks. They had boat rides, they had train rides, they had monkeys.
Monkeys, definitely. They had, among all the other animals they had a full-fledged zoo pretty much that was more tropical themed. Monkeys, birds, reptiles, snakes. They may have even had a couple other more exotic animals. Maybe I've heard word that there may have been like a lion or a tiger or two.
And a bear?
Maybe
oh
a bear.
My,
oh my,
that sounds dramatic. And tell me a story about these monkeys. When the place closed in 1973?
I think it might have been 1979. The place
79. So Magic Kingdom, Walt Disney World came in 71. So in that 8-year period, this place slowly declined. The place closed. And did they ship all the animals and monkeys off to other zoos and other people who wanted them?
Actually, no. They when this place closed, they ended up having. It was pretty much, they just kind of left it bare for a while. They had the animals taken care of for a little bit. But actually, as it started to, decline even more, they didn't really take care of it too much. So some of the animals actually escaped. When I was a kid, I heard a lot of stories about there being monkeys in the woods surrounding this place.
Wild monkey. Well, technically, they weren't wild.
Well, it depends.
But they became wild. Again, they were originally wild. They were captured for the zoo. And then, if they were bred, maybe the offspring of the unwild. If you're unwild and you have a child, it can become wild. So technically, I'm very confused on the wildness. One thing I'm not confused about is one of the other structures that still exists out here was the snake house or the snake pit, something to do with snakes.
Yeah, it was their snake and reptile facility.
Snake and reptile facility. I like to call those things a snake pit. But the actual original building, prepare yourself, shunk-a-kunk-a-kunk-a-kunk, is right there. If you look on the old maps, do some old research, you will find this is the actual structure from back in the day. Johnny Weissmuller's Tropical Wonderland Snake Pit, is what I'm calling it, was right there. Look at that structure. It almost looks like a slithering snake head. If you look at it just right, you got to have a lot of imagination, but it does look like, doesn't it look like a snake head trying to bite out and draw us
the
in?
Bottom two poles are fangs.
And check this out. They put a fence up. They put a bunch of palm trees, which probably grown naturally, some ferns and stuff, and they've actually converted this entire property, which back there was actually a Ferris wheel, probably where the Wild West show was. Back in there, this whole area has been leveled, bulldozed, and now they're using it for a storage area for 18-wheeler trucks and heavy machinery. I should actually get up on there as well, climb up on top of here.
Yeah, I think this side here was the Dodge City area. It was kind of their Old West theme. They had daily shootouts, and they had different kind of stagecoach shows where they would come out and you could ride in the stagecoach. They would actually jump on and kind of take over the stagecoach. This was more their tropical area. This is where the zoo was more located.
So the zoo over here, and then all the other theming. The Ferris wheel back there, the Wild West stuff.
Right, there was a train ride.
The restaurant. If you look on the map, you'll see Johnny Weissmuller's restaurant. That was the original building that was on that. So picture, we were standing up on there, which we could not go. From that angle, looking down this way, if you look at that hand-drawn map of the property back when it was open, it would be from that angle, looking down on the far right bottom corner of that map that you find by Googling Johnny Weissmuller Tropical Wonderland. You would see the first building, which was the restaurant. Then you would see how much wonderful touristy goodness things were all through here, ending with the snake pit area right over there. Then there was a parking lot. They actually had a boat ride. And from what I've heard, there's actually remnants of the waterway that the boat... I'm a big fan of theme parks and boat rides. I love train rides, dark rides, and boat rides. Those are my holy grail trilogy, if you will, of fantastic roadside attraction things. I would have loved to come out here when this place was actually open. Unfortunately, it is not open. And I've heard they really do not want people rooting around the property because people in that back corner are storing things of value, and they do not want people coming out here vandalizing and stealing that stuff in that far right corner of the property. So I think that guy actually might have some stuff stored back there. But we're going to take you up closer to, what did you call the snake pit? I call it the snake pit. What did you call it again?
Well, on their map, it's just known as like their snake hut.
The snake hut, not Jabba the Hutt.
No.
Imagine, I wonder if Jabba the Hutt was some weird form of a deformed snake.
Hey,
Kind of.
been.
You could, depending on which
Blubbered and
version.
drooled.
Yeah, which depending on which version of George Lucas's CGI'd remastered version, he could have been considered a slithering snake. He did have the personality of a, yeah, exactly. So here is the parking lot. Here is the snake hut right here. Man, look at that. That is awesome. Original structure. I think these stairs were actually added on probably in the 60s. It wasn't here opening day like this. Just this format was opening day in 1959, right?
Yeah, on that map it just shows it with just the archway here, no stairs yet. But
So the stairs were added later. The stairs have definitely been here a while. Oh, what's going on over there? Is there a guy fighting over there?
I don't know.
I think we have a discrepancy, a little bit of road rage, if you will, right across the road. Those two gentlemen are exchanging words. Whoa, some profanities. Look at this.
Some excitement for the day.
Yeah. See, they need some goodness in there. They need some Johnny Weissmuller snake pit excitement in the form of tourism. It seems they rectified their disagreement and they have moved on. I thought we were going to have not a video about touristy locations in Titusville, but about road rage in Titusville. You probably couldn't catch that from a distance, but we heard it pretty clear. So check this out. Here's the sign right up there. I think someone's actually living in here. I thought maybe it was an office, but it looks like someone's actually living inside of here. And there's the old, not a neon sign, but an old light up sign. Here's the old wood structure. There's a wasp nest up there, bee's nest. 4710. So if people wanted to look up the address, 4710 right here, what would they look up? 4710 and what road?
US Highway 1. It'll come up, as long as you look up 4710 US Highway 1 in Titusville, it should come right to this location.
So they can zoom in on where we are at this exact moment if they wanted to.
Right.
And they could figure out where we are. Follow us along. I think we're going to try to walk around the backside and show you guys a little more. If you look at some satellite views, they actually had like a paintball tournament thing out here. They had some like little balloony toys for kids. And a lot of this area, when they used to do the launches, or when they still do the launches, I think they just sent the Orion up from over there, right?
Yeah, straight across
They,
the river.
they have this area here where people rent it out and they charge for parking because everyone wants to see the rocket go up. So they make a gazillion dollars in one day by charging $5 or $10 to park your cars all through this property. And people that are sitting here watching the NASA program across this body of water have no earthly clue that they're sitting on fantastic Florida history right through these gates. So it looks like the property line for the storage area ends here. You can see this fenced off area. But this is actually where the water area, the boat ride part, would have gone through the woods, the back tail end, if you will, of the boat ride. So we might actually stumble on some water. And you know what happens in Florida with water, as we showed at the beginning of the vlog?
Gators.
Have you ever come across a gator in the wild?
I don't think I've ever been in the wild deep enough to come across a gator.
We might run into a gator. I do not want to have my leg festooned with teeth into my shin. I don't know what's going to happen in that situation. So if you see a gator, they say to run zigzaggedly. So, whoa, is that a gator?
No, I think that's a pile of dirt.
Oh, it's a pilot. It looks like a gator head, though.
It does. It looks like the one from the water.
Yeah, that's just a pile of dirt. Almost looks like a big ant mound.
Ooh, that might be.
That's an ant bed. Oh, yeah, look at that. Stir it up a little bit more. Stir it up a little bit more.
Oh, you can even see inside. If you come over here, you can see inside.
Okay, jump back so your shadow's out of the way. That's what we deal with here in Florida. Ants. We have snakes, we have gators, and we have massive red ant beds. All right, let's go deeper into the jungle. Johnny, see, this is why you needed a Tarzan to come out here and actually survey this land. Because a normal person like me is terrified of the swamps. Tarzan never was afraid of the swamps. And maybe that's why he decided to come into this area and actually take over this property. Look at this. I see some sort of a moat.
Yeah, a lot of the trails that are here are from the original, they should be from the original layout of the park. They never really changed much on this back end here.
Yeah, why would they? Because no one's really coming out this way. So if we find a trail or a body of water, it probably is an original area from the park.
Yeah, there's never been anything developed past the snake hut there. It's all been natural land back
The
here.
snake pit?
The snake
The
pit.
snake pit's back there?
That does look like a moat.
There's an old trailer over there. Oh my gosh, look at that ant bed. Look at these ants as they go up this stick. This is what we're dealing with. Fire ants here in Florida. Look at this. I do not like fire ants. I do not like walking through knee-high brush when you do not know what kind of slithering creature of the wild is below you. So the boat area would have been through here. It looks like the moats and the ravines are dried up. If you look at this, it looks like maybe this could have been a ravine of some sort. Or what's over here?
That looks like it drops down there too.
See, all over in that area there were a lot of buildings and restaurants. I think there was like a petting zoo, some gift shops, an arcade. But over in this area was basically the Tarzan-esque ravines and rivers. Oh my gosh, look, here we go, we got it. That's the moat right there. We found the boat ride waterway. Yes. I think we've actually found it. Oh yes, look at this. There you go. That is definitely where the boat ride came through. You'd be on a boat looking at all the sights and sounds on either side of you, straight down this waterway. That is awesome.
This is the original path too, because it starts on the other side of the snake pit area there.
So you're calling it the snake pit. I've converted you to the snake pit.
But yeah, it starts on that end down there and it comes all the way around this other side of the property here. So I wouldn't doubt if we followed this around, if we wanted to, it would go all the way around.
So this was probably added later, because before the boats would actually go in a full circle. So this little walkway where they could drive the cars over it was probably added after the fact, so they could actually get vehicles across here.
Yeah,
because I think it was actually a full circular boat ride that went all the way around, like you were saying, went this way, circled all the way around. That is awesome. I had no idea we were actually going to find this, the waterway area. So that's actually really awesome. You could tell there was a building here that's either burned down or been torn down. Like I was saying, way over there, that's all fenced off. That's where they do not want you going, because people have private property over there, trucks, and their storage areas. But no idea that all this stuff here was still out here, especially that water area, which makes me pretty excited. I get excited about really small, insignificant things to most. But history is a big part of my life, especially theme park history. So this is very cool and very exciting. Have you ever actually been wandering around out here recently?
Not recently. I came out here as a kid, kind of wasn't able to come all the way out because obviously it's been owned by any kind of private owners for a long time now. But I've been out here as a kid, but there was a paintball place there, so it was kind of hard to stay focused when you hear pop, 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 pop all day long.
Yeah, very true. You don't know if they're shooting at you or they're shooting at the ghost of Johnny Weissmuller.
According to the map, there should be what was left of the alligator pit somewhere on this section.
The alligator pit?
Yeah, it's even it's labeled on their map, so I figured it should be somewhere back here because it's almost directly back from the actual snake pit.
Lots of pits. We're in the pits of despair from Princess Bride. So this is awesome. I was going to do a full main channel video of this place, but let's be honest, look at it, there really is not a lot left. There's not a lot of video footage from back in those days. Not a lot of photos. There are a few photos, but pretty much one or two that hopefully you have actually downloaded or you're looking at as we wander the property. If you see anything in the background that maybe we missed, or if you say, hey, you actually walked right over this area, leave some comments down below. I love when people chime in, live vicariously. I love showing things, teaching things, and I love when you guys leave comments as well and share things with me that I didn't know that I can learn later on as the video is done.
Got more of the boat ride.
Yep, look at that.
Here. They must have filled it in on the other end to be able to drive over it, but it looks like they've left a lot more of it here. This should be the other half of it.
So the full circle has been actually closed up.
Yeah, because it would only continue that far, because with the property line being right there, this should be the other, what would be the other half of it. Too bad we don't have a canoe. We could actually take the boat ride ourselves and
imagine dragging a canoe back in here. I wonder if the boat ride was a canoe, or if it was actually like a theme, probably more of a theme, or maybe it was a canoe. We're talking 1959, 1960.
It could have been.
It could have been very primal when it came to tourism and theming, if you will. So maybe it was a canoe. But just think of all the tourists back in the day, right here in this water area.
Looks like what could have been concrete along the side.
Oh yeah, look at that. You're right. Good eye on that one. Yeah, if you look at this awesome tree, look at this tree. This is something out of a movie, out of almost Tarzan, if you will. Look at the majesty of this tree and these roots straight ahead. And as he was pointing out, where the roots end and the boat ride starts, you can see some sort of a concrete or some sort of a shell that comes out. Maybe that was the dock. Maybe this is where they loaded the boat ride. Who knows? A lot of this is speculation. A lot of this is our imagination. You really do not know, but that is an awesome tree. That might be my favorite thing out here is that tree, because that's pretty fantastic.
I can imagine how much bigger it would have been if it didn't break here too.
Probably at one time it was probably the center point of the park, which is probably why they built that little dock there, or whatever that was that came out from the roots.
All of these are all original paths. They've just continued to keep using them.
Just keep using the same path.
This is where people walked in the 1960s, 1970s as part of this park. So it almost makes me feel a little nostalgic.
A little bit,
I'm only
just a
30
little
years old, so
bit
it's
nostalgic.
before I was born.
Here's some more waterways here. There's waterways all over. This might just be like a regular, like, I don't know, maybe some kind of either a sewage area or, no, that might have been part of it as well. It's hard to tell.
I think this might be.
It's quite the mystery.
It'd be nice if we can find some of the train tracks. They had a train ride that went all the way around this property here, but years ago my father came out here and he said a lot of it was already defunct. They had already pulled a lot of the track up, and all the train cars that were here have pretty much disappeared.
Probably scrapped it, sold it for scrap metal, who knows.
There's a lot of vandalism that happens out here too. This became a party spot for a lot of people in like the early 80s, so it was probably, a lot of it has been taken, I wouldn't doubt.
Stolen as love mementos of their past, little homages to their youth. You can hear the trucks starting up over there. That is weird. If you want to donate some clothes, that's the place to do it.
Oh, there's the continuation of the boat path there.
This is pretty awesome. I've actually been out here quite a few times wandering around and always stopped at the gate and thought, actually, I'm not going to go in. But today we got the gumption. Me and you together as a team decided we're finally going to walk in there and see what we can find. And we've done it. We've actually done our duty and walked around here, seen what there is to be seen, which is not much. But for people who are a fan of old theme parks or Florida history, this means a lot to me, hopefully to you. I know it means a lot to you.
Oh yeah.
So watch this back, download that picture, the information I gave you, just Google it. You can find some really cool old articles. Other people have done blogs out here on the property as well. More informative than my rambling, incoherent, unedited vlog. I'm glad you were here to actually chime in with some of the info and cough right there in the vlog. Thing about unedited vlogs is sometimes you have to wipe the spit off your mouth, you have to cough, or you have to sneeze, or you have to belch like you just did.
No belching yet.
Whoa, what is this? Whoa. Look, birds.
Oh, look up there. It's an osprey with a fish. He's hunting.
That was an osprey with a fish. And I know I got the sun in that. People do leave comments saying, stop filming the sun, you're a professional. I am not a professional. And the way these vlogs, they always work, I'm showing all kind of stuff. So I'm sorry if in the vlogs, the glare sometimes is bothersome. I do not mean to get the sun in there, but I'm all over the place. I get excited. Sometimes I'm not focusing on holding the camera straight. I'm more excited about what I'm laying my eyes on, like this metal cone full of grass out of the top.
That looks like it might be an anthill now.
Looks like a dunce cap.
It does.
I wouldn't put that on though because it probably has so many ants in it. There are so many red ants, which is actually kind of unusual because summer is over. And usually the red ants go away. Oh my gosh.
There's termites there too.
So many red ants. Here's more of the waterway. There was a massive waterway boat ride area going all through this property. This is awesome. This vlog is very long. We're 28 minutes in. Is anyone still watching this at 28 minutes in so far? If you are, I want to know. Leave a comment if you're still interested in continuing the vlog. Look at this old tree that's fallen.
I can imagine the exhibits that were along the river ride there. With having a boat ride, I can imagine it was a lot like Gatorland or something like that. With each little area had its own exhibit. Maybe one had gators, another one was kind of in the monkey
I'm sure
area.
there were all kind of little vestibules and buildings all along here for sure. There's only a few pictures online. I really wish, the thing about technology, of course, is as the generations get older, there's more documentation of things. So when we're talking 1959 to 1973 or 79, whenever it closed, there wasn't a lot of photos and videos. Obviously no videos taken then. So if you can find anything that you might think I might enjoy about Johnny Weissmuller's Tropical Wonderland here in Titusville, be sure to post on my Facebook page /TheDailyWoo. I would love to see that. Leave some comments down below or get a hold of me on Twitter or Instagram. Just look up Adam the Woo and you can actually get a hold of me on there. That is some green slime. That's pretty slimy in there. I think over in here was the arcade.
They had the arcade plus the other shows as well. This is where they did the stagecoach rides and the show itself. They actually had a shootout and they advertised on the street. I don't know how socially acceptable it is nowadays, but it said that there were actual shootouts and real hangings. So I could imagine that was an odd draw to this place.
We got to get out of here before that comes back around. That's one of, they say that trends come around every few decades. That's a trend I don't want happening
I don't
again.
think I'd want to see that.
That's one of the things that just needs to stay in the past. I don't need that happening to us out here. Of course, technically, we're not really supposed to be out here, so they might have the right to hang us from one of these trees. And if I had to choose, not that I'm hoping that happens, but I would choose that epic tree back over there.
Yes, and
not that I really want to end this on a negative note. Oh, you know, I think over here there used to actually be a foundation that someone found of where either a building was or the arcade was at one time. It used to be right over in here. Of course, now it's probably all grown over. Yeah, it looks like it's all grown over now. It used to be right in this area.
There had to have been at least 20, 30 buildings in this area. Each one had its own little exhibit or show in it. And this place actually looked a lot like a neighborhood at one point because of how full it was. They had what looked like city or small town streets. I mean, they had traffic going through it with their own vehicles. There was a train ride that ran through here, actually around this whole perimeter of this area, which doesn't exist at all anymore.
Yeah, train tracks are gone, trains are gone. The old foundation of the arcade is gone. So all you have to go off of are old pictures that you dig up online. The vlog that we just presented to you. Thanks to Daniel for helping me out with this vlog. A lot of helpful information that I didn't know or I would not have remembered. I do a different vlog every day of wonderful, wacky places. Sometimes they're abandoned, sometimes they're old roadside attractions, sometimes they're movie locations, sometimes they're just me rambling about nothing, and sometimes they're about an apple. A decayed apple.
Where's Scott?
You know what they say? An apple a day keeps the Tarzan away. That has ants on it. So many ants out here. All right, say goodbye. We'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow, but only if you subscribed. I cannot talk. I'm winded. I'm tired. You were drinking a beverage the whole time. I left mine in my van. So now I'm going to go quench my thirst and end this vlog. Oh, you know, we should get one last shot of the snake pit. The snake pit. All right, see you guys. Bye.